Welcome back to the Football Fitness Federation podcast. This is episode 364, and welcome back to my co-host, Mr. Jordan Tyra. How are we doing?
I'm very good, thank you. Very good to be back. Good to be back.
Good to have you back, mate. We're joined today by Blair Doughty. Blair, how are you?
I'm well, Ben. Thanks very much for having me on. Very much appreciated.
No, thank you, mate. Really appreciate you freeing up the time, especially on a day off when you probably don't want to speak about football so much. I'm going to grill you about football, so we'll see. We'll get
There's
into.
never a day off in football. I'm sure everybody knows that.
That's very true. I think a lot of people will resonate with that as well. Blair, as you probably know, we always start these in the same place, and that's you and your background. So can you take us on a bit of a career journey so far? Let us know where you've been and what you've been up to.
Yeah, believe it or not, it's 10 years or so since I kind of started off, which is incredible. I left school at 16, go and try and be a PE teacher, believe it or not, way back when. School wasn't really for me. I went to the college. I did a wee bit of community coaching kind of way back when, and I went to a couple of guest lectures hosted at Abertay University, and kind of got into the field of sports science, and specifically in football. I reached out to a couple of people. One of them was Tom Ritchie at Dundee at the time. And funny enough, they were looking for someone to take their under-20s team. So I went in there, started off. Believe it or not, I was 17 at that time. So I was probably the youngest one at that period. So that was really interesting. And kind of learnt the ropes there, which was really good. At the time, I was doing what's called an associate degree. So I was a university student, but at the college. So I came through that way and did my undergrad, jumped in the third year at Abertay following that. Coincidentally, at the time, the management team kind of moved on towards the last 5 games of the season. The manager Neil McCann came in, and I kind of took it from there. So I went in for that last 5 games as well as first team fitness coach. And lucky enough, we kept the team in the league, which was a success. And then we obviously took the role in permanently in that summer. And then I became first team fitness coach of Dundee at that point. Again, that was at 19 years of age, so again quite young at that period of time. So that was really good. And again, learned lots when I was there. So again, another 18 months doing that, and like every experienced sports scientist, I got the sack with their backroom staff and had to find out what was next. So what was next was going and doing the masters at Edinburgh Napier. And funny enough, Tam called me up and said he might need some help at a club called Raith Rovers. The manager at the time was John McGlynn. So I went down and helped them out, and that became a kind of a full-time role for myself. We helped them kind of achieve success getting out of League One at the time and promotion. And then kind of was there for 5 years, kind of finishing off with the playoff final. Was it 2 years ago now? Funny enough, I got a call from John McGlynn, who'd moved over to Falkirk last year to see if I wanted to join him there, and I've been here for about a year now. So yeah, I've about 10 years in total now, which is really quite incredible. Worked with some really great people, and yeah, that's kind of where I am today now, kind of heading up a performance service more than anything. So not just a sports science, but head of performance services role, which I'm kind of in today. So yeah, whirlwind tour of my career and what I've done.
Awesome, mate. And we've had a lot of conversations with coaches that have probably been in positions relatively young. I'm not sure we've had coaches that have been in those positions at 17 and 19. So
yeah.
Give us a little bit of an idea how that was, because you've just mentioned there as well, obviously being in the positions, well, especially the second position at 19, in control of essentially the program, first team squad, but then also the sack that came from that as well at such a young age. Give us some of the sort of experiences at that point.
Yeah, obviously incredible experiences. Everybody says I'm a lot older in the head than I am now in the body, but that's another matter. Yeah, it was an incredible experience. Obviously, when I left school, I didn't know kind of what I wanted to do in terms of PE teaching or sports science. So going into an environment like that and being able to command respect, but also gain trust in these people was really, really quite important. I think a big part of that is my dyslexia. I'm a dyslexic, so actually reading and understanding people is one of actually my strengths. maybe not writing it down on a bit of paper, but actually understanding the person that's sitting in front of me is really, really important. So I think that's how I kind of came into it. I learned a hell of a lot under Tom Ritchie, who'd been doing it for years and years, who'd been at Hearts for 10 years previously. So I can't thank him enough. When I came through, he kind of helped me a lot. But yeah, when I first went in for kind of the interview for the 20s role, I was sent across from Paul Hartley at the time, who in Scotland everybody kind of knows who that is. So getting quizzed on, can you do this, can you do that? And it would really says, right, that's fine, then come in pre-season. So the first day I walked in, he says, right, you're on the 20s warm-up today. And I'm 17 going, all right, okay, right, what am I doing today? So I went down, delivered the warm-up, which I didn't know that Tam and Paul would walk across the pitch and actually watch the warm-up at the same time. So I put a wee bit extra pressure on me. And I think the key thing that I said in that interview that kind of came across was, I said, if there's something that needs done and you say to me it needs done by tomorrow, it will be on your desk by tomorrow. So Tam, as usual, made sure that was true. So when we did the fitness testing and I had to type it up and it was said, I'll read that for tomorrow, I spent all night making sure that was delivered and on his desk the next day. So when obviously Tam had seen that, he said, well, he'll do for me. So it's about earning that trust, delivering on your promises and working hard. It's as simple as that. Following that, obviously going into the first team environment at 19, we obviously went in for that last 5 games. Darren O'Day was obviously our team captain at that point, and after we obviously achieved that, he did say to me, there wouldn't be very many people who could do what you did, Blair. And I think one of the reasons we did say that was because I came in and I said, this is what we're doing and this is how we're going to do it. It wasn't anything big-headed or that. It was just actually having a plan and direction of what I was wanting to do and how I was wanting to deliver it, and there was respect there as well. So I'd kind of been in around that first team environment before, but you had senior pros like Darren and James McPake and guys like that, real senior pros who'd been playing a long time, but it was very much doing it the way that I wanted to do it and delivering success. So yeah, that was kind of at a young age going through that. And then lastly, on the point you said, getting sacked, yeah, you don't think it's ever going to happen, but unfortunately it did, and it was probably the best thing for me at the time. It meant I could go away and actually learn and develop my trade as a whole somewhere else. I've got to say, those 3 years at Dundee, I made a lot of mistakes, but a lot of learning opportunities. I think that's really important, that you go and learn from these mistakes. Everybody makes them, but you just got to learn from them. And that's what that allowed me to do, and kind of create my, I hate to say it, but philosophy somewhere else, and develop all the wee bits and pieces I use kind of today to deliver our performance service at Falkirk currently.
Seems like that period, mate, was a real test of like a sink or swim moment, because coaches will get thrown into that, and we know coaches that are very, very good on the sort of planning side, and everything in terms of like education and knowledge. But then when you're suddenly in front, and you described it so well there, being in front of a squad, having then managers and senior staff members coming over to watch, that's reality, isn't it? And that's where the pressure really shows. But it shows that also, not only have you worked hard at it, but you've sort of stood up to it and took on that challenge.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, again, at a young age, you've got a team owner in the building who kind of recognise you. You're able to chat away to him, and this is the guy that owns a football club. He's a multi-millionaire. Let's be honest. Like, he's the guy that's going to hire or fire you. So, you've got all these key stakeholders that you've got to try and impress, but also input your kind of thoughts and what you think's right towards them as well. So kind of a great learning opportunity. As you say, sink or swim. As I say, it's not for everyone. Like, let's be honest, it isn't for everyone, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Some people have got specialisms in other areas, and that mine just so have to be first team football. That's what I know. That's what I've learned. And I've been incredibly lucky to earn a living from doing that for the last 10 years or so.
But it also shows with the backing of the players that you've mentioned there, players that have played at international level, like played at very top level, and they've obviously seen a lot of practitioners along their way as well. So the fact that they're giving praise and saying how well of a job you're doing comes off the back of them having a lot of experiences. And let's face it, with staff members a lot older probably as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. Like these guys have obviously seen a lot of people. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't the finished article back then, not by any stretch of the imagination. But they obviously thought I did something right, which was really good. Again, you got to earn their trust. It's all about, it's a people business. I always tell everyone it's a people business. It's understanding people. Everybody kind of can learn the science behind it and what you should do, when, where, how. That goes out the window if you can't actually go and employ it and actually deliver it on the field or in the gym or wherever that kind of setting is. So it's really, really fundamental that you understand the person you're working with, and that kind of throughout my career has happened. Players that I've kind of worked with at Wraith Rovers and then at Falkirk, some similar players. We've got Doughty, who was a youngster at the time when we were there at Wraith, and he's now at Falkirk with us, and understand how Dylan works and really trying to get the best out of all these players, because that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to make them better, trying to get them to go to the next level, just like yourself. So you're there to support them. That's why it's a performance service. It's not a, we tell you what to do and do it, you guys go and do it. You're actually trying to deliver that service and support to the players, and I think that's really important.
Jordan, I think Blair's speaking our language, isn't he, when he's talking about dealing with the human?
100%, and you've nailed a lot of very key important points, I think, here. The one I really liked earlier, I'll take you back to it, is you said it's not for everyone. And I was having a chat with a colleague recently as well about this, and it was, working in football is incredibly demanding, as we know. And you've got to love it. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, you've got to absolutely love it. And I think you've demonstrated already in your career, and certainly in those early days when Ben said you're thrown in the deep end, that if you didn't love that, you're not going to go the extra mile. If you didn't love it, then you're not going to say, that'll be on your desk tomorrow. I'm going to stay up all night and I'm going to get this done. And ultimately, I think what that leads to, if you like, and the trust that we're talking about with the players, is people notice the hard yards you put in, and like you said, you're not the finished article. No one ever really is. There's always ways you can improve. But if people will pick up that, God, he's always in early, and he's always, tidying up after himself, and he's always leaving everything as he finds it, and he's always going that extra mile to make sure, lads have got proteins, or the lads have got enough pre-match, all this sort of stuff. And all those little things you will have done, that would probably be, I'm guessing here, but I'm guessing that's probably why some of the players took to you so quickly. Would it be right in saying that?
Yeah, no, definitely. That's as you say, that's probably why. I think it always goes back to something that I read recently. Was it Simon Sinek? Was, what's your why? I kind of used it in one of our job interviews recently. Actually, I said, what's your why? Why do you do it? And my why is because everyone's told me, no, you can't do it. So I left school and I got told that I wouldn't go to university, and I wouldn't go and work in the first team and all these kind of things. So I'm very much one of these people that, no, I will go and do it, and this is how I'll do it. So yeah, it all goes back to your why, Jordan. And I just say that's why you go that extra mile as well.
It's a good motivator though, that, isn't it? Yeah, when I think when people do sometimes say, no, yeah, you're not ready for it or whatever. Like you say, sometimes you do get thrown into the deep end. I think it's fantastic, that example of being 17 doing under 20s warm up, being significantly younger than the players, and I think I've worked with a lot of placement students who are a similar age or slightly older than some of the players, certainly in 21s and 18s environments. And again, it's like you can see that they haven't quite got that level of professionalism about them yet, and then they're trying to be mates sometimes with the players and all this sort of stuff. So I think to have the extreme a little bit of being, a 17-year-old in an under-20s environment, I think that's a really good example of that. I want to go back to that, because we do get a lot of placement students and young practitioners who listen to the podcast. Any tips or tricks or advice that you thought, right, I'm a youngster going in, these players are older than me, how do I command respect from the start and don't let them walk all over me? Anything you did or said?
I was probably even before that. So when I actually went in for that interview, a nice wee anecdote. I went into that interview and I went in a suit. Believe it or not, I went in a suit. I turned up shirt and tie. You know what I mean? Suit. You got to act professional in your environment you're wanting to go into, and now I got slaughtered for that. Don't get it wrong. Kind of after the interview, you turned up in your dad's suit, X, Y, and Z. I very good. You know what I mean? But I think it's really important that you're actually delivering that professionalism. It's how you talk to people. Kind of learn off of the coaches that you're working with as well, because they've obviously got more experience with you. But again, as you say, it's about having that kind of that plan and that structure, and trying to gain the trust. So again, going back to that why, find out what the players' why is as well. A lot of our obviously 20s players want to go and play in first team, and it's kind of saying to them, well, you know, I can help support you, maybe get there on the physical side of things. Now, I'm not a football coach, but I can help you on the physical side and develop you that way. And for example, we can go down the gym, I'll do the session with you, that kind of stuff. Like, you're not on your own in terms of that. We'll develop this. This is the kind of plan you'll set. I think it's really important, kind of going back to being like a performance scientist, is that we'll test you, we'll put an intervention in, and we'll test you again. You can maybe see the benefit of what we've actually done, and that maybe is one player that does that one time, and maybe two players by 6 months' time, and then you maybe got a whole squad by the end of it. So yeah, going back to how I developed that trust was just understanding the people that were in front of me, and how to get the best out of them. It's kind of maybe a strength of mine that kind of comes naturally to me. But it's definitely a core skill, I think, when you're going in as a coach anywhere, to be fair.
I think some brilliant points made so far, mate. I think the kind of chip on the shoulder is a real positive thing, and some people can use that as a real positive thing to drive forward, can't they? Like some it won't. It'll probably hold them back. But depending on your mindset, which I think is coming through pretty clear, that you've got a real level of professionalism to yourself and work ethic as well. There's a lot that can be taken for coaches, and the suit's a great example. I'm always one where if people turn up, like even in the gym environment, if people turn up and they've got a suit on, you can have a laugh and a joke after it, but people are taking things seriously. And I think that's the respect side of things, isn't it? Like the opposite of that, if people are turning up late, they're turning up like not looking like they've prepared themselves for the interview, that's never going to go well. If you're doing the opposite of that and being professional and preparing like that, yes, you might get a bit of grief after, which I'm sure you can deal with. But at the same time, it's putting you on the front foot, isn't it? It's saying that I'm ready for this. Like, I want to step up, and this is my levels.
Yeah. Well, I think it goes back to, you want them to respect you, but if you don't respect yourself, what's the point? And that, I think that's probably quite a big thing in terms of that. And you're taking it seriously, and if you're serious about it, well, they're going to be serious about it as well, aren't they? So I think that's what that kind of simple things like that is really, really important. So yeah, I can't speak highly enough of that.
I think on that as well, isn't it? Like you said, you get a little bit of banter after about, oh, you're wearing your dad's suit and things. But I think it's that, certainly when you're trying to make a first impression, you need to do something which is memorable in a good way sometimes, isn't it? So if you're turning up in your suit, and I've turned up to most of my interviews, unless it specifically states, come in sports gear, obviously, then don't turn up in a suit. But if it's left blank, I'd always err on the side of caution. It would be my advice to anyone, and turn up as smart as you can. Obviously, don't go tuxedo, but let's make it so you look in the part. And I think that's a really important thing. And like you say, that first impression, you are respecting yourself. You're telling people, I believe in myself. I'm turning up in the proper way. And then straight away after the interview, hopefully, obviously if it's a good interview, they'll be going, oh, right, he looked the part, spoke the part, said the right things, and that little bit of banter after when you've got the job, that's a nice little way in a little bit, isn't it? That breaks the ice, it gets you going, and I think that's a nice little start for any role. And it all starts from a little simple thing like turning up. I think a lot of people will overlook those little details, won't they?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's, as well as the other thing that comes into it is enthusiasm for it as well. You've got to be enthusiastic, ask about what you do and why you do it, because everybody can see. If you can't be bored, why are they going to be bored? So if you give that enthusiasm, I always say in warm-ups, players feed off your energy. So if you're nice and energetic in a warm-up, players will just feed off that, and especially in match days, like if you're up for it, they're going to be up for it as well. It shouldn't take them to be up for a game because of 3 points on the line, but that wee extra bit that you can give them, it's just as important, and delivering that's just good as well. So enthusiasm is definitely one of the things that I look for as well.
The flip of that though, Blair, as well, like you mentioned in a warm-up, is you could easily take it the other way, couldn't you? Where
Yeah,
if you're not quite on it and the players maybe aren't quite on it, and then they pull from your energy where you're off, that can go the other way. So it
yeah,
is really important the point you're making. I know we spoke about it from the interview perspective, but now taking it into training days, match days, we speak a lot about the first people that players are coming across on a training day and game day is the person who's going to be taking the warm up, leading on the warm up. So if you're not setting the right tone, it's crucial, isn't it?
yeah. No, it's really important. Like, as you say, the first kind of people you meet in the morning, like, I don't. It's going to be sound horrendous, but I don't do wellness questionnaires. I don't think you get the right information out of them. I put 20 minutes out of my day aside to make sure I greet the players in the morning to see how they are, how's the drive in, or have you managed to get yourself in the flat yet? All these kind of things that don't come up on a wellness questionnaire. So you see them in the morning. So if you're nice and lively and energetic in the morning and excited to be at your work, because that's the bit you enjoy, isn't it? Going to your work every day, you've got to enjoy what you do, as we kind of spoke about earlier. So if they see that in you, they're going to be energetic and enthusiastic about what they're going to go and do that day as well. So that 20 minutes I put aside to see 5 minutes each player each morning to go and say, how was your weekend? Did you get up to much on your day off? What are you looking forward to today? Kind of that kind of stuff. All that information that we're gathering in can actually then affect change down the line. So yeah, that you're the first person they see in the morning and probably the last person they see as well. So it's about setting that right tone right from the start, as you say, from the training ground to the game as well. So yeah.
Coaches, I know you don't have time to network. The season is a busy time and I know you're in preparation for your next game, but you know the value in your network and networking within football. If you don't have time to network, do this instead. Sign up to the Football Fitness online community. The community is home to hundreds of practitioners based right around the world. As a member, you get access to the very best football fitness content from practitioners like Jerome Peters, Dr. Ben Rosenblatt, and many others. You'll be invited into our members only WhatsApp group, which allows you to participate in regular discussions and share any challenges that you face within your role. You also get discount from some of our partner companies, discount to football fitness events, and early insights into job opportunities within the game. The good news is you can sign up today for free. Sign up to our 30-day free trial.
I think that's a crucial point, isn't it? And just wanted to double down on that as well. In that, obviously, we will do a lot of clubs will do a lot of readiness testing. You know, you might get lads on force frames, force decks, other bits of kit, whatever it might be, right? But if you've got that context where you've already had a conversation with them, how you feeling? Our drive was longer, or didn't get back till late last night. Legs, I just couldn't sleep. I wasn't settling, whatever it might be. And then you've done some readiness in the morning, for example, and scores are down and things like this, or squeezes down or jumps, whatever it might be. You've got that context. Whereas if you never had that conversation with them and they've just put on a wellness, I was 3 out of 5 on soreness, and then their scores are down, you're going, no, hang on a minute. And then you're now playing catch up, trying to find out why. But I think that's a great approach, just taking the extra 20 minutes out your day to greet the players. I think that's really important personally. Say good morning to them, see how they're feeling. You've already started the ball rolling in terms of you with your medical staff and the rest of the coaching staff saying this might be why he might be feeling a little bit leggy, they might not be quite right, etc. And then you can put interventions in place, hopefully to avoid any injuries, but better prepare those players on the training day, isn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. That's exactly what it's for. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying if you've got 45 players, you must get round all 45 players. Like, I understand there's a constraint to that. I'm very lucky in my world where it's just a first team environment of no more than 29 bodies, and I can really get through them no problem at all. And I've got an excellent group of staff behind me who can actually do a lot of the setting up of different things and delivering it. But I do think it's really important that you are going and seeing them, as you say. If you go into a lab setting and you're doing their wellness before they go in to do their tests, and their blood pressure or whatever it is too high going in, but they've had a coffee just 2 minutes before walking into the building, and they've driven in, the car's been playing up, so of course their blood pressure is going to be high. But if you don't know that unless you ask them, so that's important, trying getting this information out of them. And that was one of the big things I learned when I was doing my master's projects and that. Professor Gary Florida James was my prof there, and that was one of the things he really taught me, and that was what I've kind of taken on throughout my career as well.
It's a really important point. Really important. Blair, talk to us about bringing us up to sort of current day, getting back to Premier League in Scotland, like getting amongst the big boys. And then also, obviously, as we speak now, we're into the season, not quite fully into it, like halfway through yet, but we're well into the season. So how are things going?
Yeah, no, it's obviously been 15 years since Falkirk won the Premiership, so we've obviously come a long way in such a short period of time. They've come from League One all the way to the Premiership. Now, I jumped in on the story at when they came up to the Championship, so I couldn't take full credit for it all. But we obviously, I obviously came in to that kind of Championship setup. But obviously, that was a new league for them at that time. A lot of the learnings that I'd done prior to that, obviously 4 years in the Championship with Race Rovers. We also made the playoff final just before I left, which was a lot of learning and information I kind of took on board there, and helped them kind of and Falkirk deliver success and winning the league last season. So that was an amazing achievement for everyone associated with the football club, especially with more or less the same players that they had in League One now with us in the Premiership. A lot of guys that I'd worked with before. So what we had to do when we went to the Premiership, we had to look at what we were doing and how we were going to deliver something and through our context to compete against established Premiership clubs. You know, these guys have been in the Premiership a long time. They've got an infrastructure and a structure in place that they've developed through the years. And let's be honest, they've got probably more money than we do, because we've not had the riches of the Premiership for a long time. So at the end of last season, when we knew that we had won the league, I proposed a structure to the football club in terms of a performance service, with me heading it up. To do that, you have to have people, finance, facilities, or tech. So if you don't have one of these things, you can't deliver it, unfortunately. So one of the biggest things we had to do at the time was bring in people. So we couldn't afford. I think quality is really important when you bring in people. What kind of quality can you bring in? We can't afford top practitioners, because they do carry that salary attached to them, but we can maybe afford them 1 day a week. So that's what we've kind of done. We've got a lead first team physio in Cameron McAndrew, who's developing. He's very good, and he's going to be a great physio in years to come. But he is still developing, so he needed support. So we've got an experienced part-time physio consultant that comes in 1 day a week. Now, we can't afford him all the time, but we can afford him 1 day a week, and it allows us to assess and look at injuries a wee bit quicker and get a process in place for doing that. We've also got a consultant nutritionist as well. So again, we can't afford a full-time nutritionist, so we've got a consultant one, again with lots of experience, that knows how to deliver and quality food that we're trying to do at the football club, because that's what's fueling the body for a Saturday. Also have employed another sports scientist who kind of oversees the academy as well as the first team stuff in Lewis, and he's come from Morton, which was also a Championship club. So again, developing him to try and understand what the Premiership looks like. So again, we want to develop people. It's not just the players we're developing at Falkirk, it's the people as well. So Falkirk's a great football club and a great place to be, but we want people that are ambitious, that are wanting to go on to the next level. And if we can get a wee bit of time out of them to help us get better, brilliant, you know. So we develop our staff as well. The other things we've done is add a wee bit of technology into the mix as well. So obviously added some force plates and kind of all the kind of standard stuff that a lot of people see at the top end. And kind of develop our processes, which is kind of the next stage of our development at the moment. In terms of if it's medical, we have a approved list of surgeons and specialists we go and see now. A real success story for me recently is a player obviously had an ankle injury. We had him scanned, seen the specialist, and opt within a week. That used to take us 3 weeks. So we've sped that process up considerably by having that process in place. I'm a big process guy. I don't know if you've worked that one out yet, but I'm a big process guy. So the outcome 9 times out of 10 hopefully will be right if the process is right. I think that's really important. If you get the process right, the outcome will be 9 times. Now, I'm not saying it'll be 10 out of 10, and every time it'll hit the mark, but most of the time it should. So, yeah, we've put that kind of in place now, and it's still in its infancy. It's not quite its finished product yet, but it's getting there, and hopefully it delivers a good service for the players to help them perform at the Premiership level. And we're doing okay at the moment. We've still obviously got a long way to go. So hopefully at the end of the season we are successful in what we're trying to do. So yeah, but new learnings for me, I've got to learn how to manage up. So it's not just the manager I'm speaking to now. I'm speaking to chief executives, boards, and that kind of thing in terms of setting the strategy for the years to come. So so kind of new challenges for me, taking all what I've learned through all those last 10 years as a sports scientist, but now applying it to different departments and different ways of working. So yeah, but it all boils down to, as I said before, people. That's what it all boils down to, and working with people. That's it. It's not any fancier than that. It's not rocket science. It's just people.
It's really interesting to tap into your mindset and where that plan and that process goes in your mind, because again, I love the fact that it comes back to initially starting with the roles, who can get involved. If it's not the ideal of having someone there every day of the week, how can we work around that? Which I think you've done a great job of breaking down in the individual roles as well. And obviously points where you feel you can have that impact: physio, nutrition, sports science. With that as well, I think you briefly mentioned it there. Does that come with a next few phases? So hopefully staying in the league, progressing in the league, bringing in more money, then having those conversations with the people that are going to make decisions on staff instruction, all the rest of it, to say, right, this is phase one, if you like. This is what 2, 3, and 4 look like and where we want to be.
Yeah, no, it's exactly that. Obviously, the main target at the moment is make sure we stay in the league. That's as far as it gets for me at the moment. Yes, of course, we're going to have strategy of what we're going to go and try and do next, bigger department, obviously more support for our staff as well, because the output's been great. The output's been really good. But I always have a pen every year. There's a pen I always have every year, and this year's pen is quality is king. So we need to improve the quality now. That's the next bit for us. So how does that look? Our chief executive, when I first walked in the door, I'm always wanting to drive standards and drive what we're doing. One of the things that I put in last year was we've got a warm-up room behind the first team dressing room. Last year, the year before, it wasn't really used as much as it probably could be because of various reasons. We've obviously got that this year. That is ours. That is our space. So that then allows the players to go and do their pre-activation work just behind their change room before we go onto the pitch. So I was at him every day last year. Can we get that room? Can we get that room? Can we get that room? So it's driving that kind of that standard every day to try and get to the next level and the next bit. So obviously I can't do any with that without the trust and the support of the manager. He's been great for me. So I can't say it was just only me. You've got to have support and trust from these kind of key stakeholders as well. But no, that is the next. There's loads of the next stages and next bits. But we've also got to get the processes in place first, because whoever comes in has then got to work through those processes we've got. We're still kind of developing them. Yesterday we're doing a stage 2, what we're calling a stage 2 pitch rehab at the moment. So they've done stage 1 with return to train. And then we've got a stage 2 where it's more football-based movements now. They're getting added in to try and then deliver them to the management team in the best possible conditions. So these processes are always evolving and always developing. And that's kind of the next stage of that. But yeah, we'll try and bring some more people, hopefully, if the budget and finance is right. And again, that's the joy I've got now, is holding those budgets and telling the physios, no, you can't have any more money. You've spent a lot. So yeah, but fortunately for me, I had an upbringing in Dundee, and we're notorious for being tight so and so. So I think I've probably born into that one.
It's physios. Physios are always the one that take all the tape and take all the budget. It's always the way. But I think you've given a real good insight there into running a department, but also the really important little details that I think get forgotten in a football club, and little things like having a little pre-activation space. And I think the processes that you spoke about in terms of having your list of consultants which you go through, that automatically, right, injury occurs, we need it assessing, we go to them, they get it either treated on or not treated on if it's conservative, and then you're into your rehab pathway. And if you can just tighten up those little, essentially it's work smarter, not harder, isn't it? And
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
certainly in if we're comparing to a Celtic, a Rangers, and any big club, they're going to have staff coming out their ears. Certainly in those environments where you're not in a football club like that, those processes can literally save you hours in a day, and also sometimes even roles as well, can't they? Because I think when you were going earlier on about the staff structure and how you've got consultants in place, I think some people would try and say, oh, well, we'll just get somebody else to fill that role. And it might not be the correct role, it might not be the right sort of fit for them, but you're just going to try and get someone to fill it. Whereas actually you can go, well, actually, we can get better quality, but if we work smarter and we get somebody better, but we only have them for 2 days rather than 5, they might be able to actually make a greater impact. And then we're not, spending an entire wage for that person that's in there and probably not the right fit. So, yeah, thank you for being really transparent and the behind the scenes stuff there, because I think that'll give the listeners a lot of insight into essentially running a performance department and what goes into those extra 1% every day.
no, no, definitely. And one of the things I always like saying in my departments and how I run things. So one of the things I always bring through is, does it affect change? If it doesn't affect change, we don't do it. There's no point in doing it because it's not going to change anything for us. So, for example, if we're doing a counter movement jump on match day +2, are we actually telling the manager no, he's going to pull out that day? We've got a recovery session on anyway, so it's not going to make any change to what we're doing. So that's just taking up resource and people of what we're delivering. Now, some people will hate that, think, oh no, you should be doing this X, Y, and Z. But we've got to do it in our context. So it's really important that you bring it to the context. You mentioned Celtic and Rangers there. Their budget's a lot more than us, and as I say, they've got a lot more people than us. So we've got to bring it down to our context. And it's important that the department knows what the strategy and the vision is. So obviously our strategy is to have a best-in-class performance service, being unique in our approach, but also through the context for us. So best in class is not best in class for Celtic or Rangers. Best in class is for Falkirk Football Club and the clubs that are on the same level as us. So we're trying to deliver that for our players. But we've got to be unique, as you said, those consultants. Are we getting the most out of the technology that we've got at the moment? Not just taking technology on and having data streams coming in and not actually acting upon it. Go back to that. Does it affect change? And then going back to the context. So there's no point. We also spoke about being at conferences recently that I'm looking at them, all these guys doing all these great and wonderful things, and they're really good and they're world class in what they're doing. We've got to strip it back to how it works in our context. Can we take a wee bit of it and bring it on? One of the guys presenting was Nick Grantham and did a really great presentation on actually haven't taken away these barriers. So if you've only got 5 minutes with the players, yes, we'll take those 5 minutes. We've only got a small space. Yes, we'll take that small space. We're doing something similar in our context with that as well. As you say, that wee area for pre-activation, that was a good one for us. So all these wee things, I've only got so much money to bring into one day a week. Yes, I'll take that money for that. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do at Falkirk, and hopefully it brings us success. But I think it's quite unique in what we're doing at our level. I think that's really important because it's, as you see it all the big teams, all these staff and heads of and all this kind of stuff, which is great. But you don't really see it at our kind of level. So hopefully that kind of sets a trend for kind of going forward.
And that will resonate with majority of listeners as well, which is the reality of football, isn't it? Not everyone's going to be, whether we call it blessed or not, I'm not quite sure, with a lot of staff members. A lot of time it's going to be quite a small team, which is obviously what we speak to the majority of people on the podcast about. Blair, how have you found, I'm guessing, with the growth of the club, the progress of the club and the progress with your position, your role in the performance department, there's come a relative amount of delegation. How have you found that?
Yeah, it's been a learning opportunity. It was something I was always wanting to do. So I've done a lot of work with Grant Doughty. Grant's been great with me, and I can't thank him enough. Again, you go through your career, and there's all these guys that kind of pop up and give you advice and support you. And another guy, one of those guys, and we'll hopefully see him soon as well, is Chris Barnes as well with my basis stuff. Like you can't. These guys are really experienced individuals, and they give up their time and they support you, and I can't thank them enough. So yeah, did some work with Grant, probably year before actually taking on the role, about how do you actually go and deliver this kind of role. And I did all the learning with him, talked to a lot of people who are in similar roles at other clubs, and I kind of developed a way of working. And now it's actually time to go and actually deliver it. So yeah, you're in charge of players when you're a sports scientist, so you're in charge of players. So it's not necessarily unique and new actually going actually putting a structure in place and telling people how you want to run it. But you've also then got to understand the people that you've got as well. So I'll speak differently to Lewis than I speak to Cami, or I'll speak to one of our consultants. That you've got to understand the person that you're working with, and what kind of person they are, and what kind of place they sit in. Are they a fiery red? Are they cool blue? Are they earthy green? Or are they sunshine yellow? I speak differently to my staff than I would do the management team or the chief executive or the board. So, but also understanding the room that you're sitting in as well, and how you communicate to them. So the communication is vitally important. And it's a role that I've kind of been developing and wanting to do for a while. Again, I've made mistakes, which is great because I got learning opportunities how we could change that. I always say that you learn far more from a mistake than you do from a success. So we're always kind of tweaking our processes and the way we deliver stuff. For example, the other day, communication side, the physios want to do, the candidates want to do one thing. I was thinking we were doing another. We changed that process. They all feed into me, and then we kind of set the direction from there. That's kind of changed our process now. So something small. It wasn't a big hoo-ha, but it was something small. We just changed that to make ourselves better every day, and that's what we do try and do. So so the new role's been great. Hopefully it's going to deliver success, and that's the biggest thing. And it's been a great privilege and to go and deliver it after kind of learning with Grant and obviously getting taught how to do it, not necessarily delivering it. And this is now the time to deliver.
Two OGs of the industry there in Chris and Grant, absolute legend. Blair, this has been absolutely packed full of takeaways. I think speaking to people on all different levels, starting out in the careers, experienced practitioners in clubs with limited staff, but also if you've got numerous staff, there's so many takeaways in this episode. So I really appreciate you freeing the time and coming up and being so open and honest with everything that you're doing, and also just your intentions with the program and everything you've got to come as well. So yeah, thank you very much for coming on.
No, thanks for having me. Hopefully someone picks up something. I always think it's important you give back. As I said, Tom Ritchie 10 years ago gave me an opportunity and gave me a chance, and I was able to learn off him. So hopefully I've done the same. I always think it's important you pass it on. With a student experience day the other day, where a load of students from Heriot University came down to see us and how we did things. So hopefully all those kind of wee things do help someone down the line, and I think that's really important.
100%, mate. Just finish us up. If people want to reach out, where's the best place?
Probably LinkedIn. That's probably the best place. I'm not a big social media man. I kind of keep to the fray. It's probably because I'm as I said before, I'm dyslexic, so I can't really write much down. So yeah, LinkedIn's probably the best thing to get me on. Happy to chat to anyone that's wanting to reach out. As always.
Brilliant, mate. Blair, thank you very much.
Thanks
for your time, Ben. Cheers, John. Thank you.
Jordan, that was a pretty impressive episode. I think, like we said, there was a lot to take away from that one. Firstly, Blair's age being in those first few roles. I don't think we've quite had anyone quite so young in those positions, have we?
No, I was when he was saying it, 17. I was thinking, what was I doing at 17? I was thinking, I mean, I was just running around chasing football and probably learning to drive. So, the thought of then taking warm ups at that age, I think, I don't think I'd have really known what to do. So fair play to him. But yeah, brilliant episode. We spoke off there after we just finished recording, in terms of, I really like those episodes because there'll be a lot of people who listen to these who aren't in the massive departments, and they are trying to wrestle back as much time as they have in a day, and working smarter, not harder, is going to be the aim of the game, essentially. So I think everything he referenced in that episode is it's gonna hit home with a lot of people, really. And I definitely think, like we were referencing off air, I think their Falkirk's use of consultants is a really good way of doing it. The club have said, listen, we can't hire this person full time. Cool. Can we get them in 1 or 2 days a week then? Yeah, okay, we can make that work. And I think that's a brilliant compromise. And at the end of the day, I think football in general is about compromise. The physical coaches were going to want to get X, the coaches are going to want to get Y, and we come meet somewhere in the middle. And I think that happens across all levels of the football club. So, yeah, brilliant episode. Really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I thought the sort of idea and growth of the program, the ideas that he was coming up with on how he wanted to grow it, I thought was really interesting to tap into. And it'll also be interesting to see where they go over the next. Hopefully they stay in the league, they kick on, and who knows where the opportunities will go. The good thing is that we are heading up to Falkirk for one of our networking events. And he mentioned Chris Barnes. Chris is going to be speaking for us alongside Blair. So for anyone that wants to tap into the program a little bit more, see more of Blair and what the guys are doing, then jump on the meeting, because really excited to get back. We've been trying to get back north of the border for a while, and I think I was excited before, but now we've had Blair on and he sort of spoke about everything that they're doing up there. It's going to be great to see it in person. Anyone that's interested, head over to the website footballfitfed.com. The tickets will be available there. We've always had good turnouts up in Scotland, so it'd be great to see as many coaches and clubs represented as possible. So it's a good one and something we look forward to, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Really excited to go back north of the wall. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, Jordan, thank you again for your time, mate. And for everyone listening, make sure to check out the sponsors, Hytro, The Good Prep, and Hawking Dynamics. And we'll speak to you again next week.
Speak soon.